special edition of Education Matters. We are going to be, this is a part of our series with our 8th grade dialogue where we talk to 8th grade students about their experience in education this past year, or 2 years, I should say, and talk about what they feel about their educational experience. Right now, I'm with some students from Monmouth County. It's a large county, so we have quite a few students. So I'd like to get started right away to hear what they have to say. I'm going to start, I'll have them introduce themselves on the first question. The first question is, and I kind of alluded to it in the beginning, your 7th and 8th grade year is not like a lot of 7th and 8th graders for the previous 20 years. It's been a little bit different. You had to deal with the pandemic and COVID. And through that experience, what has been maybe a lesson that you learned? What maybe has been maybe the hardest part of it? So give us a positive and a negative about what happened from your experience during COVID. So we're going to start with Jordan.
Hi, my name is Jordan from Memorial Middle School in Eatontown. Like the hardest thing about the COVID situation for me was like getting up, like having a routine of going on Zoom and like working at home, because like it's a different environment from like at school and like talking to friends and like having hands-on learning. And like a really positive thing that came out of it for me was that like I started to let go of like having academics like priority, and like because I would get upset about like grades, and so like I kind of let go of that a bit and like try to be more of myself.
Oh, good. Dillon?
Well, yeah, my 7th grade and 8th grade years were really hard. I moved here towards the end of 6th grade when the pandemic was just starting out. And I think probably the biggest thing that was hard for me was, making new friends and adapting to new school, making my relationships with my teachers, like all knew everything, new club teams. But the biggest thing was probably my relationships with my teachers. I find that really important for my learning, just in general. One thing I really took positive out of it was the discipline of wearing a mask every day. Really taught me to be disciplined, and no matter how much I hate it, I just still got to do it.
Just tell us, Dylan, where you're from.
Oh, I'm from Spring Lake. Sorry about that.
Okay. Nori?
Hi, I'm Nori Griffiths from the Red Bank Charter School. I think COVID was really tough for me. I think the biggest adjustment was not having that one-on-one time with my teachers. I couldn't physically go up to them and ask a question. We did hybrid learning in my 7th grade year later in the year, and even that was hard because we were so focused on technology and the advantages of technology. However, there are disadvantages. And I think a lesson I've learned is to have patience. Not everyone knows what they're doing, but if we work together, we can do anything.
Okay. Michela?
So for me, for my middle school experience being impacted by COVID, something that really was a negative, like a downside for me was the fact that so I have an extremely busy lifestyle. I participate in many extracurricular activities that thrive in person, and having that automatic switch to everything being virtual, everything being at home, was really tough for me. But that entire transition really taught me how to adapt to any kind of situation I'm in, and I can apply that to all parts of my life, COVID or not.
What school and town are you from?
Oh, sorry. I'm from Marlboro Middle School.
Okay. Isabella?
Hi, my name is Isabella, or Isa Suarez. I go to Howell Middle School North, which is in Howell. And in 7th and 8th grade, obviously, COVID, my life changed a lot. I'm more of a Gestalt learner, which is like visual and very hands-on. And having to work from home there weren't a lot of resources that I could use. Like the only resources I had was the textbook, my teacher's opinion, and my opinion. I couldn't work in any groups unless I was in a breakout room or something, but I didn't get many opinions except for my own, and that was definitely a challenge for me. And a positive thing that happened from COVID is I appreciated I appreciated being in school more because like I didn't know that March 13th would be the last time I would see all of my friends until September. And, you know, up until then, I was always like, ugh, I have to get up at 6 a.m., go to school, and then come home so late. But then in like around April and May, I was just like, I wish my biggest problem was getting up at 6 a.m. and going to school to see my friends. So I really appreciated having the opportunity to just be able to be in person.
Great. Abby.
Hi, I'm Abigail Czakak, and I go to the Farmingdale school. And I think the most difficult part about learning with COVID and doing online is the social aspect, because it was kind of hard going from being with my friends all the time and always learning and having that like social environment to just being alone in a room with a computer all day and having to learn from a screen. But it did teach me to like, I guess, kind of look at the positive sides of things, to where it was more easy to focus with the computer because I had nothing to distract me. And it taught me to be better at reaching out for help with my teachers.
Okay, I think I skipped Dillon from Marlboro.
Yeah. My name is Mackenzie, and I come from Marlboro Memorial Middle School. And the most difficult adjustment that I have experienced through this learning period is that I needed, sorry, but I needed to learn how to study by myself. I needed help taking notes, and this was all of these were negatives because I didn't know how to do these before this COVID pandemic. But after this whole situation, it almost comes out as a positive that now I know how to study. Now I know how to take notes. And this also helps me prepare for high school.
All right, Jack.
Hi, I'm Jack O'Reilly. I'm from Girt Elementary School. And one thing that I found most difficult to adjust to in my 7th and 8th grade year was trying to not only focus about doing good in school and always staying on task, but trying not to get sick was something really difficult. And I just thought that this was really difficult because if you get sick, you can't be in person and you can't get the same help that you could get while you're in person. But one thing that I found that was positive was that I realized that I can't let something like the virus get in my way of trying to achieve my goals. And I always need to think about the positive things and not the negative.
Okay, great answers. What makes a great teacher? Is there a teacher or staff member that had a big impact on your education, and why? And we'll go back to the beginning with our friend Jordan.
My teacher, Mr. Valero, has had a big impact on my education because like overall he's a very like fun kind of teacher, and he lets you be your own person while like still being that strict teacher, and he like allows like creative freedom while like tying in elements of like English into our writing while still getting like hitting the main points.
Okay, Dillon.
I think my 7th grade math teacher, Mr. Livingood, had the biggest impact on my learning. He had a crazy way of teaching things, and I personally loved it. He would connect with the students like personally through like his stories and his childhood, obviously. His lessons, like he would teach us through his experiences in his life, and he would relate them so we would understand better. He's not only the 7th grade teacher, but he's also the athletic director. So we would also connect with all the athletes at our school, and he would relate to them, and he would really put in the time to help them if they really needed help. And I think that his quality of teaching was probably the best I've ever seen.
Okay, Nori.
I think the teacher that has had the biggest impact on me is my 4th grade ELA teacher, Mr. Strapoli. I'm a very creative person, and I took interest very quickly to writing at a young age, and he always told me to pursue that and encouraged me, and he still does that to this day, even though he's not my main teacher. So I think that's another thing that's good about my school, because my teachers follow me wherever I go.
Great. Dillon.
To answer this question in a short way, it would definitely be my social studies teacher, Miss Hendrickson, this year. But to add a little reason behind this is because writing before this year has been one of my worst subjects, but we've written so much in my social studies class and expressed our ideas so much that now in my actual literacy class it's so much easier because she helped me love writing.
Oh, that's great. Michela?
Um, the one teacher that I think has made a monumental impact on my learning experience is definitely my current reading and writing teacher, Mrs. Czakak. She's the first teacher that I've ever had that's actually like really understood me as a person. She really, really connects with my class and I. She really, really connects with my class and I. And her lessons are always incredibly engaging, and she really focuses on bettering us as people and not just through reading and writing. Also, she's one of the first reading and writing teachers that's really truly taught me how to pull apart and analyze all pieces of writing. Through her class, I feel that I've become a very critical thinker, and that's one of the main takeaways that I've had from her so far this year, and I'm really excited to see what the rest of the year brings with her.
Okay, so let me see. Oh, Isabella?
Yes. Mr. Amy, who's my social studies teacher this year, he has really helped me out. The standard way of teaching is you teach the lesson and what's in the curriculum, and then the test is questions they've come up to test you on what you've learned so far. But the way he does it, our test grades are always projects, our quizzes are always projects, usually group hot projects, but instead of saying like, this is what I think you should know, it's more of like, describe to me what you've learned so far. And that's really helped me out because it lets me express what I learned in my own way instead of in the teacher's format. It's in my format. And that just not only did it take a lot of stress off of me because tests just felt like another like regular class, it also helped me understand everything better in the end. Like after the test, I'm like, oh wow, now that I said that out loud, I understand the lesson even better.
Okay, Abby?
Probably my fourth grade teacher, Miss Walsh. I had her for 2 years, fourth grade and third grade. And for having her for such a long time, you kind of like build up a better relationship with your teacher. And she's really creative. So she taught me how to like embrace myself, not only academically, but artistically. And she kind of made learning more fun and taught me how to enjoy it better.
Great. And Jack?
So all the teachers at Girt have had a great impact on me, but my homeroom teacher and social studies teacher, Mrs. Schimpf, has probably had the greatest impact on me. She's a great teacher, but she's also someone who's always there to listen to, talk to, and help anyone, not just me. And this stands out to me because school and learning is important, obviously, but she's also taught my classmates and I to always be there for each other and to help anyone when needed.
Great. Just a little before we go to the next question, make sure the teachers that you talked about see this video so they know that what you think of them. Just a little hint. The other thing, if the principal came up to you and wanted advice from you, or the superintendent or someone, maybe someone on the school board said, what do you think is one thing we could do in our school that would make it the educational experience better for most of the students? So, Jordan, let's go back to you.
If I was asked like what would make like this school experience better for me, I think encouraging students to go out of their comfort zone and like join clubs and meet new people, because it like distracts them from focusing on schoolwork all the time or like friends all the time. Like it allows you to explore things that you never thought you would do.
Okay, Dillon?
This is just coming from me in my school, but I think that we have all the long classes in the morning, like the 5 most important classes like math, ELA, science, history. We have all those in the morning, and they're really long, and sometimes they can become monotonous. And coming from me, an 8th grader who still, I get a lot of sleep in the morning, I just think my classes are really long and they can sometimes get a little boring. And I feel like if they were to section off some of the classes throughout the day, that would be great. just the 5 main classes. The other classes, they're all great. Another thing, I think just lunch periods are super short. That's it.
That's not the first time I've heard about the short lunch periods. Nori?
For my experience in my 8th grade year, I feel very over-assessed. I think there's a lot of standardized testing that's been given to me by administration and elsewhere. This isn't coming from some sort of petulant defiance where I'm saying I don't want to take tests. I just think that we're wasting critical educational time on 2-hour-long tests that are unnecessary.
Okay. The other Dillon.
I think because I'm pretty sure you're supposed to have a certain amount of grades per marking period. I think that having more group projects in that marking period would help students because it would make them more engaged in the class, bring out a creative side in them, and working together with others would definitely make them more awake in class, especially because I think somebody else said it. People are tired in the morning and they want to be awake. They need their brains flowing.
Yeah, it's harder to get up early in the morning and go right into a hard class, as the other Dillon said. So let me see who's next here. Michela.
So touching on a little bit of what Nori said about how much standardized testing is pushed on us, I feel like a better way for us to be tested is by more project-based assessments, by things like oral presentations or being graded on the way that you speak in class or talk with other students. I'm actually graded like that in one of my classes in my English class. We have this thing called Accountable Talk, where we'll talk with our peers on topics that we're reading, and we're assessed based on our critical thinking skills that we exemplify while we talk to other people. And I feel like that's something that can really showcase students' knowledge in a better way. Something that also I think could help improve learning overall for me is the reassurance from teachers, kind of pushing confidence onto all of our students, I feel is something that can improve all of our mental health, especially after the pandemic. I feel like, pushing reassurance and confidence is something that can help everyone.
Okay. Isabella?
Hi. I think that something that would definitely help me learn is just letting us socialize a little bit more, because an important factor to having successful education is exposure, having a lot of exposure to different materials, different opinions. And like I said before, because of COVID, there weren't a lot of group projects, but now like a lot of opportunities are opening up, and I don't think we're taking advantage of them as much. And I think that there could be a little bit more, that there are a lot of opportunities that we aren't taking for us to work as a group project together, because I like knowing what other people think, not only what I like knowing what not only I think and my teacher thinks and what the textbook says, but what other people think, because that throughout the years, like throughout elementary school, throughout middle school so far, has helped me learn and understand whatever I'm learning a lot better, because sometimes I just need it to be worded differently. If a teacher explains it and I don't understand it, the person who sits next to me can re-explain it to me and it sounds great. But lately it seems like I haven't been being able to get that opportunity to hear from my peers, and it would just be much more useful if I could.
Okay. And Jack, what about you?
Well, similarly to what everyone else has said, I think that if my principal asked me this question, I would say that I'd request that teachers not rush to giving a test so quickly, and that they have a discussion and see what everyone else would think. And also, I think that rather than have a test, you'd maybe give a project, because you really have to think about it either in a group or in a project, and you have to deeply think about what you're learning and not just memorizing it the night before so you can use it on the test the next day and then forget about it.
Okay. The last question. I know you're going to be going to high school in a pretty short time. Actually, you'll be graduating in a few months. Then you go to high school. And so do you have any plans in high school that you want to do, or maybe even beyond? A career that you want to go into, or what type of college you want to go to? Jordan, we'll start with you.
My future plans for high school is like obviously like meeting new people because I think it's really cool to like, expand of like the social circle that I already have. And in high school, like I'm going into intro to business, so I think it'd be really cool to further my interest in that.
Okay, Dillon?
Well, since I was 7 years old, I've always wanted to play baseball at the next level, and I think that going to CBA, the high school I'm going to, they're really going to really help me get that opportunity to play. They're very known for their sports, and I think that my goal one day is to either play professional or just play college.
Okay, Nori?
I think in high school, I'm most excited for just new learning experiences. I've been at the charter school for a very long amount of time, so I'm excited to experience other teachers and their ways of teaching and maybe other ways of presenting curriculum.
Okay, and Dillon? The other
I'm
Dillon?
really excited to join the technology clubs at the high schools, or the high school I'm going to. And not only the clubs, but also the electives that are related to technology, because I feel like I'm so interested in that subject, and I would like to know more about it.
Okay, Michela?
So personally, I've really stuck to the kind of same interests for my entire life. You know, I'm a pre-professional ballet dancer, and I feel like I've kind of stuck to that part for a while. And I'm really excited in high school to kind of expand my horizons a little bit, look into all of the new clubs, look into the electives, really find myself as a person and find my kind of people too. I really like working with kids, so I feel like finding career paths in that area and all of that stuff, all and beyond. I'm really excited for all of that.
Okay, and Isabella?
The high school I'm going to, I got into the a law and public service program, which is basically you learn about, for an example, something that's added to it is mock trials, which is when we have class debates on everything. And I am a math and science person personally, but I think this has always intrigued me. And being able to, when I look at my schedule for next year in high school, and I look every class, I'm excited for. I'm really excited to learn about civics, politics, and just like the law in general. And it makes it kind of contradictory, but moving forward, I do want to go to college after high school, and I want to become an engineer. And it's kind of like, well, if you want to be an engineer, why are you going to high school for law? But it's just something that's always interested me. And a lot of people have said high school doesn't define your career. If you go if you don't go to high school for a program, it doesn't mean you won't have a job when you're older. But I just think that having, like I said, a lot of exposure in math, science, which is engineering, and just law in general, it'll help me moving forward no matter what.
Okay, Abby?
So I'm gonna go to Howell High School, and for me, my school right now doesn't have any sports teams because we're too small. So I'm excited to go to a bigger school where I have more opportunities to do sports I'm passionate in. And my school also, we have one class per grade, and I know that's not the same for high school, obviously. So I'm excited to get like a more of a broader social spectrum.
Okay, great. Well, that brings us to the end of this conversation with the eighth graders. I have to say I'm really impressed with your thoughts and how you thought about your education and your experience. And I hope the adults that listen to it, maybe even the principals, when you gave some advice, listen to what you said. So that brings us to the end of this eighth grade dialogue with these great Monmouth County students.